Hello and welcome to our presentation of Meet Libby. My name is Kara and I'm the Adult Services Librarian at the Oregon Public Library. And so tonight we're going to talk about how to download and use Libby. Um, the very first thing I want to talk about is there's some vocabulary, and throughout the presentation there may be some questions about, well, how is it on the website, or how is it on the Libby app, or how is it on the Overdrive app? So these are three separate things. So Overdrive is the overall product. So Overdrive is what the company is that's providing the ebooks and audiobooks that you can download. And they have a main website that you can do everything from the website if you want. So if I ever refer to the Overdrive website, that's what I mean. It's the website. You do not have to have an app for it. You can use it on your computer and whatnot. And it's just like a regular website. And then there's the Overdrive app. And the Overdrive app is kind of like an old version of Libby. Overdrive created the Overdrive app a while ago, many years ago. And now it's like kind of, you only use it if you have to. There are certain like the Kindle Fire, for example, you can't use Libby on the Kindle Fire. So you can use the Overdrive app on Kindle Fire. So that's really the only reason you would use the Overdrive app, is if you have a Kindle Fire. And then the Libby app is what we're talking about tonight. So that's primarily what I'll be mentioning, but occasionally discussion about the other two things come up. And so I just want to tell you what that is. And then this is what we will hopefully get through all tonight. First, we're going to start off with download and setup of using Libby, how to browse, how to search, and how to borrow items. Then we'll talk about placing holds and using tags, and then account notifications, we'll talk about a little bit, and sending content to other devices, such as Kindles. So we'll get to that in towards the end. And then the last bit is what to do if you need help using Libby, downloading a book, or anything like that. So that's the last bit. So let's just go ahead and get started. First thing you need to do to use the Libby app is to download it. So you can download the Libby app in the Apple App Store or Google Play App Store. It is not in the Amazon store because it is not compatible with Kindle Fires. So for that, you have to use the Overdrive app. So it's not in the Amazon store. That is often one of the first things that people who are trying to use Libby get confused about. There it is. So you can go ahead and download it. So today, this is a screenshot, actually I think it's from yesterday, of my phone in the Google Play Store. And so I just did a search for the Libby app. I think I did Libby Overdrive was my search, and then it came up with this screen on the far left. So I went ahead and installed it, and you can see the middle image is what it looks like when you're installing it. It's pending. And then the third image is what it looks like when it's finished downloading. So you can go ahead and click open then, and it will open the app that you just downloaded. So when you first open the Libby app, you will see this message, and it asks you if you have a library card. So yes, you should have a library card. If not, you would need to contact your local library to get a library card. You can't actually get a library card through the Libby app. So if you say not yet, then the app will basically tell you to contact your library to get a library card. So yes, you have a library card. And now Libby needs to connect you with the right library. So you can do a couple different things. If you have Libby on a different device, you can like do some sort of connection where it will get you logged in to the right account. And then the third option, not where the arrow is pointing, it says guess my library. And that will use the location on your mobile device to auto select the closest library to you. You know, that works. I don't always have my location on my phone on, so I just went ahead and did I'll search for a library. Then it asked me for a zip code or a branch name. So I put in my zip code and it identified me as being in the Wisconsin Public Library Consortium, which is correct because that is the overall organization that is a group purchasing body for Overdrive for everybody in Wisconsin. So now it wants me to select my individual library in the Wisconsin Consortium. And sometimes this gets a little tricky because it's a super long list because it's every library in Wisconsin. Sometimes people will select the library system, which you can do. And our library system is the South Central Library System, SCLS. There's also, I think, a Southwest library system. So sometimes they select the wrong system and then they have trouble getting logged in because of that. So for that reason, I would recommend that you actually pick your library that the library you use, just to make sure that that confusion doesn't happen. So here I'm selecting Oregon Public Library, and then that's that. And then now here's where you actually type in your library card number. So you enter your barcode number without any spaces, without any dashes. So that's what you enter. If you ever have questions about what your library card number is, contact your library and we can help you get that figured out. So now you're signed in and here's your library card. You can rename your card. So for instance, if you and your spouse use the same tablet, you can have multiple cards linked on the one app. So you can have your 10 holds and your 10 loans, and another card in your household can have the 10 holds and 10 loans so you can name your card. So if my husband and I were sharing the same device, like I could say, this is Kara's card and this is my husband's card and whatnot. So you can do that if you want. Or if there's just one person using the account or using the device, then you don't really need to do that because you just have one library card anyway. And then you're in. So you're all set. That was the whole download and setup process. And you only have to do that once. And once you're set up, you're set up. So that is the main setup process. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is browsing. So one of the things that people really like about libraries, which is kind of a bummer right now during the pandemic, is they like walking through the library and looking at all the books on the shelves and picking out what ones look interesting to them. So when we're talking about a virtual space, you can still do that. Well, you're not really walking. I suppose you could walk while looking at your tablet, but you can browse through the collection and find items that you would like to check out. So that's what we're going to do here in this browsing section. So I have two different screens here. The one on the left is a screenshot of my phone. So this is my phone. It's pretty small, so you can see the smaller screen there. The picture on the right is from a mini iPad, so you can see that the image is a little bit larger. I have screenshots from both devices throughout the presentation. So sometimes you'll see a bigger one, sometimes you'll see a smaller one, and that's what that is. But this is the library homepage, essentially. And you get to the library page by clicking on the library navigation in the bottom of the Libby app. So on most pages, if not all pages, you have this library word and this shelf word here. So if you want to get to the browsing section, to the searching section, to pages that have information about books, you want to be on the library side rather than the shelf side. So the library side. So we're in the library and now we're going to explore because that's what browsing is. It's exploring what we have. So I pointed to explore and now this is what happens when you click on explore. The first times that you log in and you're using it, sometimes like pop-ups of like, here's like a quick tutorial of how to do it. So that's what this guide is here. So even though this is a digital resource, and you would think, oh, well, the book's online, you can have as many copies of it as anybody wants. That's not actually the case. So the library purchases licenses to a certain number of copies of the digital book. So still, there are times when books won't be available because all of the copies are checked out. So here, under Explore and under Available Now, you can see a listing of all the books that are currently available for checkout. And you can keep scrolling down on this page. You can see, at the top here, you can see these images of book covers. And these are some of the books that are available, and you can click on featured and see more. You can scroll down and see different audiobooks or different genres or, other things like that. Lots of fun things to scroll through and look through of all the books that are currently available. So if you go to preferences, you can narrow that, because if you just were looking through all of the books ever that are available, there's going to be a lot. And so if you want to narrow that down, you click on preferences. And that is what the second image on the right-hand side here gives you. It's those additional preferences. So you can select format. So you can select if you only want audiobooks, or if you only want Kindle books, or you only want ebooks. You can also select language. The majority of the content is English, but there are a few other languages in there as well. You can select audience. So if you want adult books, or if you want books for kids or teens, you can select the audience. Supports is the device that you're using. Availability is if it's available right now, or if it needs a hold. And then I can't remember what the sort by features are. I think it's like newest published, author alphabetical, like some basic ways to sort information on the screen. So here is the Explore page on the iPad, and it looks a little different because it's on a larger device, and so they have it so it displays differently. But if you scroll down here, some of the different categories that you can see, and the categories change from time to time. This one I actually took a screenshot of in 2020, so you can see the self-care goals. So, they have different categories that they highlight, if it's self-care, or if it's fix it yourself, or if it's mystery, or if it, just lots of different titles that are available. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see a listing of some of the genres. So for instance, let's say you're interested in historical fiction. You could click on historical fiction, which I have circled here in that teal color. And there are, at the time I took the screenshot, there's probably more now, but there are 9,110 titles in the historical fiction area. So again, that's a lot. I don't know about you, but I don't really want to scroll through over 9,000 titles to see if there's a few that I want. So you can, based on what your preferences are, um, you can keep those. You can also change the refine. So what I'm pointing to on the right hand side is ways that you can narrow these results. And the refine and preferences are pretty similar, but the preferences are sticky. What I mean is you select a preference and then it stays there. And you have to go in and manually change it back to um, that preference. Whereas refine, I clicked something here. Okay, whereas refine, no, I'm doing the same thing again. Whereas refine, sorry, whereas refine is based just on this one search. So that's kind of the difference between preferences and refine. So when you click on refine, you can see the same things in preferences, format, language, audience, device, availability, and sort by. So I picked format and I decided I wanted books. And then it looks like I clicked on preferences, and I changed some of these preferences. And I just wanted everything that was available now. And now, down from the 9,000 titles, I have 3,000, which is a significant decrease, but it's still quite a lot to go through. So you can keep doing those refining processes and changing your preferences to get fewer items to find what you're looking for. Or you can just scroll through the lots of books. Sometimes, you find you like looking at them. It's like wandering through the shelves, there's a lot of them. So that's browsing. Next up, I'm going to talk about searching. So browsing and searching differ in that when you're searching, you kind of know what you're looking for. You have an author or a title. Whereas when you're browsing, you're just kind of like, I don't know, I want to just see what's there. So for searching, when you are on the library side, if you look at the library in the lower middle left, there is a search box that appears at the top of the screen. Depending on what device you're on, it can be in a slightly different area. On the iPad, it was up here at the top. On my phone, it was up at the top still, but it was on the other side of the screen. So it can kind of be in a couple different places. So you can click on the magnifying glass to search for a book. And here I'm doing a search for a book, Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. And I start typing it in and it gives me results straight away. And you can click on the results that come up or hit the search button there to search for what you typed in. So what came up for Water for Elephants is it looks like there are two results that are both the same thing, but they're not. The first item there, Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen, is actually the audiobook. And you can tell that by this little audio icon that is here. Also, the image of the cover is kind of more square, so it looks like a CD case cover. So those are the visual cues to tell you that it is an audiobook. Once you click on the item, it would also tell you it's an audiobook on the next page, which we'll get to in just a moment. And then this other item here is the book, the ebook. So I'm going to do another search for a different item. So you just, you're on the main page and you click on the box, the magnifying glass box. And then I was doing a search for Look Alive 25, which is the 25th book in the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovich. I picked Look Alive 25, and it says there are no results. And I'm like, what? How could there not be any results? Like, this is a very popular book. But is because my preferences were on there. And so remember earlier when I said that preferences are sticky. You set your preferences and then they stick. They stay that way. So one of my preferences that I had set was that I only wanted items that were available now. And when I did this search, Look Alive 25, all of the copies were checked out. So it was not available now. So therefore, I had no search results. So if I change that available now to everything, as I point to here on the screen, then my search results come up. And we have the book on the left and the audiobook on the right. Again, I can tell it's the audiobook because of the audiobook icon that has the little like earbuds that says audio. And then it's also a square title image as well. So that's searching. Do you have any questions at this point? If you want to type it in the chat box, you can, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. I'll just pause here for a moment, get a little water. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions come in. Feel free to type them in the chat if something comes up. Next, I'm going to talk about how to check an item out. So how to borrow something. So today when I was scrolling through and looking for books, I decided I wanted to check out Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, the audiobook. So I found this one and it's available now, so I can check it out right now. So that was like because I was doing it on my phone and the screen is so small, you do a lot of scrolling down. So this is what it looked like when I first did the search and clicked on it. And if you scroll down, you can go ahead and borrow it. There's also, if you keep scrolling, and I go like this, like if you keep scrolling, then you can see more information about the book. Sometimes there's like a synopsis or if it won awards. Here you can see towards the bottom that it was a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. So other things that it's like known for. So I already know I want to borrow it. So I just click on borrow. And the screen that is on the left is what comes up. And so you can kind of look and make sure everything's looking good. You are borrowing Little Fires Everywhere. And it tells you also how many items you have checked out, how many you have on hold. Because unlike the physical library, the digital library, you can only have 10 holds and 10 loans at a time. So you kind of want to keep track of what you have checked out and what you have on hold because you can only have 10 of each. So this is looking good. Something I always check is how long am I checking this item out for? So if you click on the 14 days where I have the arrow, it will tell you your options. Sometimes you can get 7, 14, 20, or 21 days for an item. I don't know if you can get 28 days. I'd have to check on that. But you can select, the time that you want. Like say, for instance, I'm going on a road trip and I'm only gonna need this book for next week. I'm gonna listen to it, I know. So I'm just gonna check it out for 7 days. You can do that. I always err on the side of caution and check it out for more than the time that I need. And you can always return it earlier if you want. So I had selected 14 days. It was already set to 14 days and I just made sure that was the most amount of time that I could have it. And then you click borrow down at the bottom and you checked it out. You have borrowed Little Fires Everywhere for 14 days. Now, Below that, we're going to talk a little bit more about notifications later. But the first time you check something out, it will ask you, notifications tell you when your loan is due. Would you like to set up your notifications now? So this prompt, you can expect it the first time you check something out, that then you can go in and manage your notifications. So I clicked on that, and it's basically when and how do you want to be notified? So the menu badge is on the library pages. When you're looking through the collection, you have a little icon in the upper right hand corner, and if you want the menu badge notification, it will have like a image that lets you know that you have a notification. You can also get emailed the notification, so you can get that set up. So how do you want to know that a loan is expiring, meaning that it will be removed from your account, or if a hold is ready? So that's what this is about. So now that we have an item checked out, we can go ahead and go over to our shelf. So all the stuff I've been talking about before now has been in the library. And now we're going to the shelf. So on the shelf, which is in the lower right-hand corner, you click on that, you see these different options. You can see your loans, your holds, and your tags. Below those three categories, you will also see recent loans and recent actions. So if you've checked out a bunch of books and returned a bunch of books and checked out a bunch of books, you will see those actions below these three categories. So we're going to go ahead and go into loans, and you can see here's your loan. That's the book you have checked out. And then you can, download it or open it in Libby, or whatever options are available for that item. For this particular item, it's an audiobook, and so you can open it in Libby. So if you click open in Libby, this is what it goes to. You have the play button. You hit play, and it starts to play. So that's nice. You can see up here in the upper right corner that it's 11 hours, 27 minutes, and 57 seconds. So you can see the countdown to how much you have to go. Here at the top of the menu, you have like a bookmark. So if you stopped at a point or want to go back to a point, you can put bookmarks in the audiobook at certain places and revisit them. I think the moon changes so it's like a nighttime background instead of being so light. So if you're like in a dark room, your phone isn't like really, really bright, or your tablet or whatever. And then there's this thing that looks like a speedometer, and that is the speed of the playback. So some people really like listening to their audiobooks fast. They can like listen to it and like understand it at a faster speed than the way the narrator is speaking, and you can change the speed as well. So yeah, that's the basic playback. One nice thing about using the Overdrive app is once you checked out the item and open it, it downloads it all to the app. So after your initial checkout and opening the item, you don't need internet anymore. You can listen to this without internet. So that's nice. You just need to keep your phone or tablet charged, and in the car on a long trip, you can listen to a book without internet. So that's a nice feature. And that's the same with the ebooks. Once you have it in the app, or on your Kindle or something, you don't need internet anymore to access it over and over again. Because rarely do we sit down for 11 hours and listen to the whole thing. I mean, I suppose maybe it's happened before, but I've certainly never done it. So that is a nice feature. So next we're going to talk about holds, because sometimes there are a lot of holds on items. So with the Look Alive 25, all of the items were checked out and you could place a hold on it. So you can see the place hold. If there were copies available, it would say borrow instead of place hold. So if you don't see any place to borrow and you only see place hold, that means that there are no copies available right now. So if you click on place hold, you'll get to this page and it says you are placing a hold on Look Alive 25. It tells you how many holds you have and how many loans you have, and you can go ahead and place the hold. And then it gives you an estimation for when the item will be available. It should be available for you to borrow in the next few days because there are 34 copies. And my menu is right over what it says at the bottom. And there are 0 people waiting. So I'm the first person on this list for this book. So that's nice. It kind of tells you what's going on. So I clicked place hold and I took a screenshot of it thinking. And so now I've placed the hold on Look Alive 25. And you can click on go to shelf. And then here's that shelf again that I told you about before. And you can click on holds, and then you'll see the holds that are available, or the holds that you have, not that are available. And it tells you again, available soon. So for the manage hold section, I don't think I got a screenshot of this, but if you no longer want this item to be on hold, you can go to the manage hold section and delete the hold. So again, because you can only have 10 holds at a time, sometimes you might decide, oh, well, I think I'd rather have this one rather than that one, and I'll put that one on later. The list is too long and this one will be faster, or, however you want to manage that. Next, this is a great new feature. I guess it's not super new. It's like a year old, but relatively it's super new. And that is tags. So again, because you can only have 10 items on hold, you may have lots of books that you want, but you can't have them all on hold. So you can create tags to save what books you're wanting to read. You can do all kinds of different things. I have a coworker who tags books, all the books that she reads in a year, so she can see how many books she's read. So it's kind of like a reading history. So she has a to read and she has a read tag, and then she can see what she's read in the past and stuff. You can do whatever you want with your tags. If you have like nonfiction that you're interested in, historical fiction that you're interested in, mystery that you're interested in, you can create all these different tags. So again, this is in the shelf area. So if you go to shelf in the lower right hand area corner thing, you'll go to your shelf and then you can click on tags. These 3 are the default tags, and I don't have anything tagged right now. But they have kind of like a book icon, a thumbs up icon, and a thumbs down icon. And if you click on any of those, it takes you to, the listing of everything that's in this tag. And you don't have anything tagged for this book icon. So it tells you add to this list by tapping the tag button on any title in the library, at your library. So again, we're going to go back to library and find books to tag. So the first thing I was going to tag is this Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine because it's right there and it's blue, and blue's my favorite color. You may have more stringent requirements for the books you read, but having a blue cover is as good as any. So I go to Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine, and the image on the left is what I see when I click on it. And then I scroll down a little bit. I'm still doing this for scrolling. I scroll down a little bit and click on tag. Then it gives you the options to tag it with the tags that you currently have. So you can see you can tag it with the book icon, the thumbs up icon, or the thumbs down icon. And I don't want to tag it as any of those things. I want to do my own thing. So I clicked on add, and then I added a tag. You can type in whatever you want to name that tag. And so I typed in want to read because I wanted to have a want to read list. And then I clicked or tapped on create tag. Once you've created the tag and put something in it, it now tells you the third image on the far right is what it shows now that it is in the tag. So instead of saying tag, which is what it said before, it tells me which one it is tagged with, which is want to read. You can have one book tagged multiple times. So it could be in want to read, it could be in summer read, it could be in historical fiction read, or whatever. And then it would say, I think it says like 3 tags or something, and you can click on it and see what you have it tagged. So there's that. So then back on the shelf, I also want to show you what it looks like when you've tagged things in there in your lists that you've essentially created. So go to the shelf area and click on tags. And this is what it looks like. The first image on the left shows the tag categories that we have. You can see the list that I created there, want to read. It gives you a little thumbnail of the books that are in there. So you can see the blue Eleanor Oliphant is there. And then you can click on the want to read and see all the things in it. Right now, I only have one thing in it. So it's, not exactly a list, but you can extrapolate how you think that would look with lots of things in it. So there we are. And once you've created a tag, or once you're in this list now, you can do some things. You can rename the tag. You can export the tag, which I think gives you like a list of all the books in it that you can it's like a notepad, like a text file, I think, of all of the books. Or you can delete the tag. And then if you no longer want to have this book tagged with this, you can remove it by tapping on it and swiping left. So that's what that blue arrow denotes. You're swiping it, and then you can remove it by tapping on remove. So that's how you manage your tags. Next up is account notifications. So I briefly mentioned this. So this is what I'm pointing to on this screen is that notification on the screen. I can't remember what it was called now, but that is telling me that I have a notification. And you can change that by clicking on the Libby face, which is what I'm pointing at the screen. That's what this is. That's kind of like the Libby ponytail hairdo. And you can click on that and manage your notifications. And then you can decide if you do not want any notifications, you want the notification in that little toolbar Libby area, or if you want to be emailed. Menu badges, that's what they called it. So this is the menu badge that I was mentioning before. There are also some setting options on the website. So the Overdrive website versus the Libby app. So if you go to the website, this is what it looks like. And it looks remarkably like the app. And you log in with your library card number. And then you can go to the My Account area and go to the settings. So you can set your default settings. But recently when I had someone contact me and I told them to change their default settings, and it didn't go over to the app, the Libby app. So I don't know if they're connected, but it's not a bad idea to go in here and see what your settings are anyway. Because there it is. You can also change your preferred audience, and this is something you can do in the app as well, as I mentioned before. If you only want general adult content, mature adult content would be related, I believe, to like romances or something like that. So you can select that audience. Or if you have a preference for a Kindle, and you can do this in the app as well. So those are my account notifications. It's pretty simple with that. We have about 15 minutes and not much to go over, not much left over. So I want to pause again for questions. Do we have any questions? Okay,
Kara,
go ahead.
once I've downloaded a book, it's going to, does it automatically delete from the device at the end of the loan period?
So at the end of the loan period, it doesn't delete from the device, but it will no longer work.
Right.
So it'll give you some prompt that says something like the borrow period has ended or something. So that's just something that automatically happens.
So do I have to worry about using up drive space then if I borrow 50 books in a year?
No. Once the license expires, it takes it away enough that it doesn't bother you that way.
Okay.
And the files are surprisingly small. So it doesn't take up a lot of space for that.
Okay.
So yeah, great question. Thank you. Any other questions at this time? Okay. All right, well, I will move on to sending content to other devices. So I did tell you that the Libby app does not work on Kindles, which is true. You cannot put the app on a Kindle. However, you can send things to your Kindle from the app. So I have the app on my phone. I have the Libby app on my phone. I do magic, and then I can send it to my Kindle from my phone. So that's what I'm about to show you. So there's this great book, The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, and it was available. So I went ahead and borrowed it. So this is normal. You've seen this before. I scrolled down a little bit, clicked on borrow, and then, clicked on borrow again here. And now I'm on my shelf in the loans section. And you can see what I have checked out. I have little fires everywhere. And then I have the Underground Railroad here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can see it more clearly. And when you click on read with, it asks you, where would you like to read the Underground Railroad? And you have two options here. You can read it in the app, which is on my phone. I keep showing you my phone, but it's here. Or you can transfer it to a Kindle device. So I selected transfer to Kindle. And this is what it does. I have three different screenshots here. So the first one is the Amazon login page. So it takes me to the Amazon login page, and then I log in. The middle picture is the next image that you see on your screen, and it says you're logged in as your login, which I blurred out for privacy. And then it says get the library book, and then deliver to Kara's Kindle, which is what I have so creatively named my Kindle. If you have a Kindle device and you've used this Amazon section before, you know that you can have multiple devices. So here you can select which device you would like it sent to. So deliver to Kara's Kindle. So I did that. You click on that, and then it tells you that the item has been checked out. It will appear on your Kindle device until the due date. So at which point, I can go to my Kindle, turn my Kindle on, connect my Kindle to the internet and sync it, and this will be on it. That's magic, you know. The other thing you can do is you can read in the Kindle app. So if you have the Kindle app on your tablet, on your iPad, or what your Samsung, or whatever your tablet is, you can also have the Kindle app on there, and that is a free app. It's separate from the Libby app, and then you can read it on the Kindle app on whatever device you want. So you can read it on your phone, although that's an awfully small screen. I have read books on my phone before. I've listened to books on my phone before, and that's more enjoyable than reading it. You can transfer it to another device using the Kindle WhisperNet, which is a great name for the service. So on your Kindle or another device, using the Kindle app. So even though Libby does not work on Kindle, Overdrive does, and you can send stuff to your Kindle. Hope that's clear, because it is kind of confusing. So then the last section is help. If you have questions about using Libby, if something was unclear, if I mumbled, if I was confusing, there's a couple different ways you can get help. First, they have very extensive help pages at help.libbyapp.com. You can do searching for whatever issue you're having, and they have a lot of different categories too that you can scroll through. They also have a lot of Overdrive help pages as well. So there's lots of information that's very easy to find. It's written in plain language too, so it's not like overly complicated or technobabble. A couple times it's been a little technical, and I was like, okay, I need to think about this. But most of the time it's pretty clear and simple to use. If you can't find what you're looking for, or if you just want to talk to a human, because sometimes you just want to talk to a human. I have been going like this all day and I want to talk to a human. That's okay. And you can contact us at your local public library. You can give us a call and we can try and walk you through it over the phone. You can email us and we can try and help troubleshoot that way. If you call us and we're really, really busy at that time, we may ask you to call back at a different time, or we may make an appointment. Oh, can we call you back in an hour, when we can really devote the time to help you with this issue? So it may not be like help you right now, but we will do our best to try to give you our undivided attention and help you solve the problem. A lot of times we can solve something pretty quickly. A lot of times there are a few things that happen pretty regularly. So if it's one of those things, we can usually help out like straight away. Sometimes it requires some more research and troubleshooting. So we may have to ask you to call back later, or we'll call you back later, or make an appointment to go over it a little more thoroughly. In the pre-pandemic times, we would make an appointment for you to come in and you could sit with us with the device and we'd help you through it. But we're not doing that right now because of the pandemic. But hopefully when things are healthy again, we can continue to provide that in-person service if you need help. So that is the end of my presentation. Thanks. I'm going to stop the recording.